Fantastic to have you on the show. Your father began this institute many years ago to bring cheaper vaccines to the masses, and I can only imagine how busy you've been this year. 5 projects going on, at least 3 of them towards mass production of vaccine candidates being developed by other countries and businesses. Talk us through those specifically now and when we can expect to see a vaccine on the market if all goes well.
Sure, thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you. When my father started the Institute 50 years ago, he always wanted to do something for the masses and have the vaccines that were always unaffordable that Big Pharma made to all these countries which didn't have the insurance schemes, and people had to pay and buy these products, by going into their own pockets. And a lot of these governments also couldn't afford in Africa and in India to buy these vaccines. And then Gavi came along, and, that's why we've been able to provide a lot of these vaccines to all these countries. That's how we built scale in those years. And, as I took over in 2011 as CEO, I've been building a lot of capacity ahead of time. And that's why perhaps we're one of the few who are able to rise to the occasion and have this excess and spare capacity that we're able to quickly rejig. And that's what I've been doing since March to accommodate multiple candidates. I mean, we've got a plethora of vaccines and partnerships that we've been very busy getting on board. And, leading the way is AstraZeneca. And then you've got Novavax, which you've probably heard about, and how they're getting along, probably a month or 2 behind this product. So you've got the AstraZeneca Oxford product, which we're going to start phase 3 licensure trials in August in India, and hopefully go for a license in October, November, and make it available to the world, all of these 60, 70 countries and in India to begin with, because those are the rights that we have at the moment with Oxford and AstraZeneca. Of course, the trial has to succeed and the vaccine has to work, but I think everyone is pretty confident, and there's a 70% chance that the Oxford scientists believe in that product. And then, of course, we've got Novavax and our own 2 candidates. And then we've got Codagenics, which is a company that we've negotiated worldwide rights, which is based out of the United States. So at the moment, we've got these 5 partnerships, and we're firing as many barrels as we can in the hope that one of the vaccines succeed. And then, we'll have to go from there.
It's fantastic as well that as you said, you've got your own 2 vaccines in development as well. If you're successful with those, which is something completely different, I think, for the Serum Institute, how quickly could we see those come to market? Is there going to be more of a delay compared to the sort of partnerships that you've negotiated with others that you said in phase 3, if not approaching?
Absolutely. So, we're looking at 3rd quarter 2021 for our candidates to probably get licensed, because they're just completing the animal studies, and then they'll go into phase 1 end of this year. So if we're talking about phase 2 and 3, we're probably talking about a 1.5 years from today. And that's exactly why we partnered with all these other institutes and universities and companies, so that we'd get a head start also on all these candidates. And, we always knew Oxford and had an earlier partnership to make the malaria vaccine with them. And that's also been going on. It's in a phase 2 in Africa at the moment. So that's how we knew Oxford originally. And that's how the partnership kind of evolved into the COVID vaccine partnership as well when the crisis hit us.
I know at the heart of everything that you're doing at the Institute is trying to see greater equanimity in the access to vaccines for poorer nations. We have seen so many barriers dropped and overcome in the global fight against COVID-19. Do you think this will be a pivot moment where Big Pharma can adapt, change the business model and the hold that they have with intellectual property rights over R&D and things like vaccines to get future vaccines to EM nations quicker?
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen that where, Big Pharma is going to have to license out the technologies that work out to other manufacturers to all come together. And I think that is working out pretty well. So far, I think they've also partnered with some Chinese companies and also in India and other parts of the world, in South America, heard about some partnerships and out-licensing deals. No, I mean, look, we'll have to do that, won't we? Because no single company, including Serum Institute, will be able to produce everything that the world needs, especially if we're talking about a 2-dose vaccine. And most vaccines just, I don't know if you're aware, but most vaccines, like for pneumonia, rotavirus, measles even, the pentavalent vaccines, they're all 2 or 3-dose vaccines. So most probably, dare I say, the coronavirus vaccines that are being developed, I think 70 to 80% of them are going to end up being 2-dose vaccines if we want long-term protection and real coverage, to be sure that it's protecting you against the disease. So I think we're going to have to reach out to as many partners as we can, including Serum Institute, because if we license 2 or 3 vaccines, we can't make all of them at the same time. We're probably going to have to license out some of the other products later on.
It's fantastic to hear about your progress. Please come back and talk to us soon, because I want to understand if, when we're not in a global fight like we're in with COVID-19, whether the same kind of community spirit will apply and we'll all still be in a global fight, even if it's only one part of the world that's affected. We will reconvene on this discussion, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, the CEO of the Serum Institute of India, and thank you to your team for the hard work.